Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. As always, if you're new to the channel, this is Wind Waker Unflooded, a 3D modeling project reimagining the land of Hyrule in the art style of the Wind Waker. welcome all aboard. Of course, if you've played Wind Waker, you know that all the islands of the Great Sea are the mountaintops of Hyrule. And so this project is just all about, envisioning, what does Hyrule look like? We get to see a small portion of it in the game, but not much. We never get to fully explore this world. And so Wind Waker Unflooded is all about bringing Hyrule to life as you've never seen it before. So it's been so much fun to post this project and to see how interested y'all have been. I say this every time, and so I don't know. Maybe I don't have anything new to say, but it's so fun to. It's like this is my project. But I love that I can share it with y'all, and so like it's not about me. It's about what we can share, and I really have valued that. I really valued I'm so passionate about it, and so are y'all, and I just love that. You know, we can all get together as Zelda fans, and I've said before, this is a project focused YouTube channel, but like I tell you, it's a 3D modeling project, but what we're really building here, spoiler alert, people may not know this, but, I say it's just a YouTube channel for a 3D modeling project. Secretly, I'm building our own little corner of the Zelda community. Don't tell anybody that, but this is the secret aim of this project, is to build a community space where we can share our love for the series, and that's my secret plan all along. And I've really valued that through the comments, and that's all been possible, and just that we can really share the space and share our love for the series together, and our passion for this world and this game and just all these things, and it means so much to me, and I know it means so much to y'all for so many reasons, right? And I think that's the beautiful thing about Zelda, is that there's so many reasons you can fall in love with it. And I think a lot of us, we grew up with it as a kid, so there is that nostalgia that it grounds us in some of our earliest memories. Some of our most potent early memories with media are the stories of Zelda games and getting engrossed in those. I know for me, it's that's one of those stories that for me, it was just captivating as a kid, as much as I was interested in the world of Star Wars, right? Zelda was there as well, something I could really get immersed in and let my imagination run as a child. But even then, it's as games came out, as I grew up and I played older games and I replayed games, it's I kept falling in love with the series again and again and again. And I'm it's not just nostalgia. It's the quality of this series is so high. The level of craft of the writing, the music, the design, the game design, the level design, the mechanics, how just everything is so polished and fine tuned in so many games, and you can rank them, right? And you can say that some games have shortcomings and other games have strengths in different areas. And we can have those conversations, but just as a whole, what the Zelda series does is full of so very beautifully polished games, beautiful experiences, beautiful stories. It is simply a beautiful series that is constantly innovating in the games industry, that is constantly inventing new mechanics, new ideas, trying to pave things forward and go in new directions. And I think that's what I really always love about it, is that if you can rely on the Zelda series to do anything, it will be creative, and even if we're going back to Hyrule again, even if we're fighting Ganon again, it's always going to be creative in that approach. And I love that. And even games that people feel play it too safe, or feel like a love letter to the series in some way, are creative and doing tons of things new for the first time. And I love that. I love that Nintendo has really prioritized that. And I really want to follow that philosophy here, right? In making this Wind Waker Unflooded project, I really want to respect the lore. I want to be consistent with the world of the Wind Waker. But in order to make this project possible, I have to invent things. And I think that's something that I do want to make clear, that as much as I value, and I am I'm pulling locations from other games. This is a video all about pulling locations from other games in this Lanayru mining facility that I haven't even talked about yet. But But it's like, it's also something that like, I don't want to just make it a remix project, right? It's not just about, oh, like, let's just like make it a remix of all our favorite Zelda locations and call it a day. That's not the point of this project. That is part of the project. And I've talked about this in a previous video before. It's like, I kind of have 4 philosophies that guide this project, and I wrote them down from that video. So let me see if I can pull it up, just because I think it's worth reiterating the goals of this project and what is guiding me. Here it is. Yeah. It's number 1 is reusing assets from the Wind Waker to create the world, to keep consistent with the style, to save me work, but also just to elevate the original developers and the work that they did, and make sure that is featured throughout the world. Number 2, recreating locations from other games, you know, like we're doing in this video, bringing the Lanayru mining facility from Skyward Sword into the world of the Wind Waker. I think it makes sense, and that is, you know, something that I think is totally appropriate. And Hyrule is big enough that I want to feature all these fan favorite locations and locations that I love, that I think make sense within the world of the Wind Waker. Number 3 is connecting the dots, right? Is sometimes it's like, well, this isn't, I'm creating kind of terrain here that's not necessarily special on its own, but it's the path going to somewhere special, and that matters, right? Not every inch of the map is a reference to something, and I want to make those corners that feel just like connecting the dots. I want to make them special in their own way. I know if it's a path up a cliffside, that's still something that can be dramatic on its own, and I want to keep honing in those areas so that they can all feel special and beneficial when they work together. But number 4 is pure creativity and doing something new. Those are kind of my guiding philosophies of the kinds of things that the kind of philosophies that I use in modeling this project. And in any modeling session I may be doing one of those 4 things. Maybe there's a couple other ways that I could look at it, but I do think that that's probably a solid way of quantifying the different approaches that I have in a work session. I'm thinking about it in those 4 ways. And I don't necessarily think one is better than the other. I think it takes a balance of those 4 in order to make this project possible. You know, I think it takes all 4. I wish it was 3 so it could be poetic, right? Like I have to wield the Triforce, right? Balance the 3 attributes. But I'm balancing the 4 attributes. It's the Tetraforce today. So, but yeah, I mean, all this to say is like, I want to balance making new things, respecting old locations, and both of those are important to me. And because I don't know, like I feel this way about movies, right? Like if all they do is rehash old things, we see a lot of nostalgia bait, I feel like, in movies of today. And sometimes it's done well and sometimes it's done bad. And I don't necessarily want to be too specific in my examples, but I will list some examples. Like I watched The Flash this summer, and it was not a good example of nostalgia bait. That's not a controversial take. But of course, when Spider-Man No Way Home came out, I loved that movie. And I don't think it's a perfect movie or anything, but I loved watching it. And I really felt like the way it used Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and all these villains. I really loved how they benefited the story. So I feel like there's times when it makes sense and there's times when it doesn't. But like, I just feel like as creators, right, when we are doing projects that reference old material, I do think we have a responsibility to be smart about how we use that stuff, especially Hollywood, of course. But I guess like I feel like Nintendo has been so smart about that with the Zelda series, that they can keep conventions, fan favorite conventions, things we're deeply nostalgic for. We can keep Link and Zelda and Ganon and Hyrule, you know, and maybe some games aren't going to have every single element of that, but you know, we can keep that throughout the series. These things that, but they're not nostalgia bait. They're used in new ways. They're creative with it. It's a balance between those things. It makes sense. And, you know, Zelda can do something new in the new game. Ganon can do something new. What is possible with Link's inventory, you know, all the game mechanics. There's so many things that, like, the spirit of Zelda has been perfectly preserved through the ages. Oracle of Ages reference, but but they can still do new things with that, which I think is cool. That like what Zelda is about is less tangible than we think it is. It's not the dungeons, the mechanics, the characters, the world. It's the spirit. I don't know. That's my soapbox. I'm getting off of it, but all this to say, I thought I was going to talk more about Skyward Sword in this video just because I'm working on a Skyward Sword location. maybe that's a video for another day. I'll talk a little bit about it. But also it's just due to I don't know. I could do a whole video is I guess how I feel about it. But I do think, like, you know, we have a couple minutes left, and I think before we get into this final part of the video, I think it's time for a short message.
As always, if you want to be able to support the project, becoming a member on Patreon gives you exclusive behind-the-scenes access, early access to all kinds of bonus features, early access to music that I compose, scripts that I write, storyboards, previs, rough cuts of all my filmmaking projects. So become a member down there, and you get all kinds of early access to all kinds of stuff. You can also support me by listening to my music on Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. Look up Joe Kendrick, JoeKendrick.
And we're back. Just wanted to always remind you how you can support me as a creator. It would mean so much for you to be able to contribute in some way. And if you want to contribute as an artist, whether that's making concept art or if you're a 3D artist and want to create assets, whether that's working on a large location or a small location or something, a small asset, even, you know, it's helpful just to get something like a single tree is helpful, especially assets that I can duplicate. So feel free to get in touch with me if you want to contribute as a 3D artist. I'd love to have you on board, and feel free to shoot me an email. I think my email is listed on the about page of this YouTube channel. So feel free to get in contact with me. I'd love to have more people involved in the project. And so this is an open invitation to anyone watching. If you want to contribute or just make concept art or whatever it is, I'd love to have you on board. And also, you can make your voice heard in the comments. You know, I read the comments, and any feedback that you have, ideas that you have, locations that you want to see, or feedback on, you know, what you see in the video. If you think, oh, I would have done it differently, feel free to comment that and let me know, because I read the comments and I value your support and feedback and criticism and notes, and I read all that, and that directly impacts the locations that I work on. You know, that helps me decide what I'm going to work on next. And it helps me decide, you know, like what y'all think about, like, if I should go back to a location and rework something. You know, all of that stuff helps. And I really value this community aspect of, like, we're making this project together in a sense, right? Because we can share ideas. And because this is something that's like, if I was making it completely by myself and just showed you the end project, a lot of you would be saying, oh, I would have done this differently, and this should be over here, and this should be over here, and this should be more like this. And I want y'all to be able to have a voice as the project's being made, is I guess just what I'm saying. And so I value that and want y'all to, I want this project to feel like something that the Zelda community approves of. I want, like, at least as a whole, you know, not everyone's going to be happy. If there's two comments that say contradicting things, I can't follow both of them. And I'm either going to follow my gut or find a consensus. And I try to find a consensus and respect that. But there are times where I just have to make a call. And that's just how it goes if different people have conflicting feedback. And you know, and that can happen. But I guess, like, I'm just saying that, like, I want this to be a project that the Zelda community as a whole can feel like, yeah, this is like what the Wind Waker, like, its version of Hyrule would look like. I want y'all to be able to feel like it's as close to canon as we can get, and that it's something that y'all, you know, accept. I value that, and I want us to be able to share that kind of acceptance of the project. So that's all I'm saying. We are getting to the end of the video, and I haven't even discussed Skyward Sword. It's crazy, man. I really thought I was going to go into like a 15-minute, like, here's my thoughts. Maybe that's another video. Maybe that's another video. So as always, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but if you are interested in supporting me as a creator, become a member on Patreon. That helps support the creation of everything that I do. It gives you exclusive behind-the-scenes access to all kinds of bonus features, including scripts that I'm working on. I'm a filmmaker, so I have scripts coming out, rough cuts, previs, any stuff, or, you know, all that kind of stuff for any of my short films that are in progress. Gives you an exclusive look at all kinds of content there. It also gives you early access to music that I'm composing. Did my voice crack there? Music that I'm composing. Any music you've heard in the background of this video was my music. So feel free to look up Joe Kendrick on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music. That's JoeKendrick. Listen to Joe Kendrick on Spotify. All right, that's all I got for y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I'll let y'all go.